I am really excited about Civilization VI coming to the Nintendo Switch on November 16th, but there's a few things I still want to talk about. In today's video, we're going to look at 5 things I want to see in the Nintendo Switch installment of Civilization VI, but we're also going to look at what we currently know surrounding each point, so we'll bring some realistic expectations as well. Within these 5 things, we look at some of the big topics such as the multiplayer, the controls, and most importantly the price once again, so make sure you stay tuned for all of that. As always, please do remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on if you're going to enjoy what you see today, and so you don't miss our Nintendo video which goes out every Wednesday at 7 PM GMT, and for regular news updates on games like this. Coming in at number 5 on this list, we've got the idea that we should accept and embrace smaller games. Now this is kind of a strange point because we're essentially going to get it in one form or another. Hell, you can even do a dual match on a tiny map on your gaming PC, so I'm pretty sure you're not going to be forced to run games including at least 10 civs on the much less powerful Switch. I think we'll be looking more at a maximum of 8 civs on a standard map as the upper limit. Once you throw in city-states and things like that, it's still a pretty big map with a lot going on. This would be a good upper limit too. 8 civilizations is still a pretty cool number and would allow you to have a taste of playing as, with or against a number of different civs relatively quickly in the game, whilst hopefully keeping the game small enough so turn times remain relatively short, especially towards the end of the game, and so that when not docked your Switch's battery life isn't devoured within an hour, which is apparently a problem on the iOS version. After all, a large part of the charm behind this game is going to be its portable features. I'm fully expecting 8 to be the maximum number of civilizations we can have in one game. I wouldn't be at all surprised if it was actually lower, because as we've seen with the gameplay we got to look at on Thursday, things like this will have to be toned down for the Switch installment. Finally, if someone could let me know what the upper limit is on the iOS version, please do. That would give me a better idea of an estimation, seeing as I've never played that version, and I'll put the information down in the comments below. Strangely enough, I'm not willing to go and buy a really expensive iPad and game just to find that out, and I can't seem to find the answer on the internet either. Today's question I decided to base around the Civilization series. So, Queen Victoria leads England in Civilization VI, and she actually will do it in the Switch installment as well. But which English leader has led their country more than any other over every Civilization installment? For some of you Civ veterans, this might be a really easy question, but if you've not played a great deal of Civ, this could be tricky. Let me know what you think in the comments and I'll give you the answer to this question further on in the video. Next up here, we've got a point of frustration for myself, which is the online multiplayer, or lack of it, that we're going to get with the game. First of all, we'll take a look at what the ideal would have been for me and hopefully could be in the future. The only other installment of Civilization I've played off the PC was Civilization Revolution, and it had a decent online mode, well, at least in theory. Although it crashed on occasion and some players inevitably took every second of every turn, even when they had literally just founded their capital, which took a maximum of 30 seconds, it was basic enough and an enjoyable experience in private matches with friends. Civilization VI also has a pretty decent online mode as well, so it would be great to see a good and reliable online multiplayer mode come along with the Switch edition at some point. Another idea I had to enhance the online mode was by the inclusion of a feature which allowed you to save your online private matches with friends or whoever else you're in a private match with. I really like this idea because it means you wouldn't have to put a big chunk of 6 hours aside for a game and instead could keep coming back to a game for a number of days in smaller segments. However, it looks like this isn't going to be the case. From the information we've got so far, it looks as though Civilization VI on the Switch is not going to include this type of online multiplayer. The closest we are going to get is an up to 4-player multiplayer where players can cooperate and compete for supremacy via a wireless LAN. I can't lie, this is disappointing. I gave my initial reaction in a video on the night, but to summarise, it definitely wiped off some of the value for me. How many people are going to know 3 or even 1 or 2 friends who own both a Nintendo Switch and Civilization VI for the console as well? Right now, it just feels like the weakest point of the game. Next up, let's talk about the controls. The controls are going to be a massive part of how good this game actually is, and it's really important they function very close to, if not as well as the mouse and keyboard do on the PC. Playing a Civ game with a controller or the Joy-Cons is undoubtedly going to be a weird experience for some people. But do not worry, because it's all gonna be fine. As previously mentioned, I have played Civilization Revolution, where essentially you use the left and right stick to move around the map with your camera as well, and control the majority of things you do. Now, although this wasn't perfect or as efficient as the mouse and keyboard on the PC, it did a pretty good job, and this was over 10 years ago. I'm sure the team behind the game will have controls high up on their list of priorities of things to get right, and I really do not think that this is something to be worried about at this stage. Whilst on the topic of controls, I think it's important to mention the possibility of the game utilising any of the Switch's motion control features. I think in some ways this could work quite well. It would be pretty cool to shake your Pro Controller forward to send your units into battle, but apart from that, I think it's best they avoid any motion control stuff. If they do little bits right, it could actually work pretty well, but I'm not fussed. I would rather them use their resources elsewhere. One different form of control I am in favour of, however, is the utilising of the Switch's touchscreen features. People who own the game on iOS will know that you can send units across the map by just sliding your finger across the screen. I think this would be really cool to have on the game when the Switch is not docked, obviously, and a nice way to really make the undocked experience even more relaxed. Or lazy, yeah, probably lazy. Going even further with this idea, the touchscreen could be a pretty nice way to manage all different aspects of the game whilst the Switch is undocked, and provide a nice alternative to a controller. My only concern with this though is the size of the Switch's screen. From the things I read, some players even on the iOS version felt you needed really thin fingers to utilise these features. The Switch's screen is even smaller, so this might not actually be that easy. I don't think we've seen anything on the controls so far, so I'll be sure to give my thoughts when we do get some solid information or gameplay which shows off the controls. At number 2 on this list, we've got the fact that the game should include all the features of the Civilization VI game on the PC. I'm pretty sure the game will include most features of the original. The game's official Twitter account has confirmed it is the full Civilization VI game, so I'm not so worried about this point. Also, from the gameplay we saw in the September Direct, and the screenshots we have seen since, we can see features such as the in-game wonder building engine and the day and night cycles are there, which does give the impression we are going to get most features from the PC version. Just not the online multiplayer ones maybe. Because of the apparent lack of online multiplayer, one feature I am really keen for them to include on the Switch version is hot seating. This is a great way to effectively have local multiplayer on one Switch, and it would be a lot of fun to go head to head with friends who do not own their own Switch, and right now it appears as though it's going to be the only way for many people, including myself, to test their skills against anything but the AI. So before we go any further, let's have a look at the answer to that question I asked you earlier, and the answer is Elizabeth I. If you got that right, please do let me know in the comments below. If you got it wrong, oh well, there's more important things in life. Also, if you got it right, go and buy yourself an ice cream or something. Finally on this list, I want to talk more about the price of the game. This is a topic where I know what I want and what we're actually going to see will vary. Let's get straight to the point. In an ideal world, this game wouldn't cost more than £40 or $50, but we do already know it's going to cost $60, and they'll likely round this up to £50, seeing as this is what it costs on Steam and I believe on iOS. My reasons for thinking the price is going to be a little high is because there's lots of games coming out at the end of this year which I'd arguably say could be above Civilization on the list of things to purchase for people who might like the look of the game. Super Mario Party comes out on October 5th, Starlink Battle for Atlas comes out on October 16th, Red Dead Redemption 2 October 26th, Spyro Reignited Trilogy November 13th, Fallout 76 November 14th, Pokemon Let's Go games November 16th, Super Smash Bros Ultimate December 7th, and there's so many games I've not even mentioned here, including the annual sports games and shooters, which a lot of people purchase every single year, and games coming in early 2019, like the new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe port set for release on January 11th. Now I know not all of these games are coming out on the Switch, but people who are fortunate enough to have multiple consoles will have to make tough decisions about which of these big hitters to get on release, to buy in the future, and some will undoubtedly not get bought at all because people have limited amount of money to spend on games. Moreover, seeing as I already own the game on the PC with all the DLC, it isn't going to be easy to justify a price much greater than £40 or £45 for a game that is essentially 2 years old, especially considering the lack of online multiplayer, even though I know I'm somehow going to find a way. On the flip side, some people will probably argue that the game is actually fair priced. It's a new game on the Switch which will unquestionably offer a different experience than the PC version. You can't take your PC anywhere you want. It includes some DLC packs which are an additional cost on the PC, and there's not so much on the Switch like it at this moment. It will just feel a little bit expensive for me, but I guess gaming is becoming an ever more expensive hobby, and I know I'm going to pay anyway, so I should really just stop moaning, shouldn't I? Also, if you don't want to pay for it on release, I'm sure it'll come down in price during a sale or something. Okay, so that's it for this video. Hopefully I brought some new information to you in this video, or just got you thinking about some points of contention today. I'm really enjoying covering the build up to Civilization VI on the Switch, largely because of your guys' interaction in the comments, so please do keep it up. Let me know what you think to the 5 points I've made here, and do you think it's going to be fairly priced? Also, please do remember to hit that like button if you have enjoyed. It's really great for the video, and I love knowing what you guys enjoy and want to see more of. Finally, go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our Nintendo video every Wednesday at 7 PM GMT. Next week, we're looking forward to Super Mario Party, which I'm really excited for, plus lots more Civilization content. I'm definitely going to make a video on everything we know before release, and for more reaction and news updates like I put up last Saturday. Thank you so much for your time today, and I will see you in another video.